What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video here in the Project Z series. Again, you can see the Z back behind me. Today we are going to be addressing an issue that is very common with these cars, which is the intake manifold design. Now, the biggest problem spans from the fact that the intake manifold starts really high in the back and tapers down. What that does is it actually chokes the front intake runners to where the front two cylinders are getting less air than the rear cylinders. So it will throw off air to fuel ratio, it will throw off your mileage, and it will throw off your performance. So today we are installing a solution for that problem, and hopefully that'll take care of every problem that we have as far as performance goes. And we'll also be doing the spark plugs as well. So what I have here in this box, obviously, is from Z1 Motorsports. We're going to open this up, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is. Remember, when you're opening stuff, try and cut away from yourself. I know it's tempting to cut towards yourself, but, you know, probably not the best idea. And it's not exactly the easiest thing to do while you're trying to film as well. But I'm trying to do this one-handed. Alright, anyway. So, I have not opened this yet, but I'm going to try to make this as painless as possible. Anyway, as you can see, this is from Z1 Motorsports. Again, pretty much all of my parts have come from Z1. So, what we have here, as you can see on here, we have the VQ35 plenum spacer. Now, what this does is it fixes the issue with the intake manifold being too low in certain areas. So this is the intake manifold spacer. So this is going to fix our issues. That does not fit on there. Let's try this. Anyway, this is going to fix our issues with the problem with the front being lower and the back being higher. Now, it is slightly tapered. What it will do, if you look at the side, it'll actually raise the intake manifold up, I believe 5/16 of an inch is what I read. And it should take care of pretty much everything. So they go through pretty much every step you can think of on here. They show you your torque sequences and everything. So everything is pretty well planned out for you. So you get all of the longer hardware that you'll need to be able to change it out. And if I'm not mistaken, it's supposed to come with, yeah, there it is. It comes with a new gasket for the top. So you will reuse your original gasket for the bottom, which you normally sandwich between the intake manifold anyway, but they give you another one. So you'll have one that's already in here. You'll reuse that one for the bottom, and then the one that they sent will actually go up to the top. So I'm going to go ahead and start disassembling everything that I need to get to. Obviously, airbox intake tube's going to come out. I may end up removing the strut bar as well. Engine cover obviously is going to come off. But all the hoses and sensors and everything that need to come off, I'm going to go ahead and just pull all that stuff off. Plus, I got to get to the spark plugs. So, if you haven't taken this apart before, first step I would recommend doing is going ahead and removing your strut tower brace. It will be 4 14s on either side, and there's going to be little spacers underneath that you need to watch out for falling. So make sure that you have some way to grab those in case they do fall. So I'm going to go back and tell you, just because I made a mistake. First step that you want to do is you want to take the airbox out, because if you don't, you won't be able to get to that bolt right there. So I'd go ahead and take that out if you do still have the OEM airbox. It's definitely a good idea to go ahead and take that out. Then you'll be able to get to that bolt. I've already removed the 3 that are on here and the 4 that are on that side. I just need to get to that one, so I'm going to pull the airbox out now. So obviously I had to go way further. I ended up having to pull the lower intake manifold off. Upper intake manifold is just leaned up, so it's out of the way. I'm about to go ahead and change the spark plugs out. And then after I do that, I will show you the walkthrough process of putting the intake manifold plenum spacer on, how the gaskets and everything go in, and then hopefully this will take care of any problems that I've been having, and it should make the car run 1,000 times better. After changing out 3 spark plugs, I now know why I was having some issues. These are starting to get like a green tinge to them, and every one of them is showing signs of fouling out. This one is probably one of the worst ones, but definitely this one. So the whole driver's side is changed out. Driver's side is, or the passenger side, excuse me, is next. I need to change those out. Once those are done, I can get the lower intake manifold back in and show you the process. So a lot's transpired since I last recorded. I've got the lower intake manifold back in, and I'm to the point where I can put this new plenum spacer in. Now, if you noticed the height difference, I'm going to take the old one and put it on here just for reference. Now you can see this one is a lot taller than the factory one. So this is going to be taken off, and that will be the new plenum spacer. So this will essentially give us a little bit more air going to these front parts of the intake manifold, because the back gives you so much room for air to go in those cylinders that the fronts get robbed of air. So essentially that's why you have the bigger intake manifold spacer. So I'm going to go ahead, get everything put back together about the way that it's supposed to be, and when I get to that point I will pick right back up where I left off. I'm also going to be cleaning my throttle body as well, because it doesn't look much better than the inside of this intake manifold. So get that cleaned, and then hopefully I will have this back up and running very soon. Alright, so I had to take a minute to figure out exactly what the directions were telling me as far as the bolts go. So you are supplied some bolts, you are going to reuse some of your factory bolts. So most of the ones along here are all the supplied bolts. You have 3 long ones that are here that are going to be replaced from the factory to the ones that they supply. The ones that came out of those 3 holes you're going to reuse here. Also, you're going to have one here, one here, one here, and one here that are all reused. In the directions, it does say that you don't have to replace this bolt or this bolt. You don't even have to put a bolt there, and apparently that's supposed to hold it. I, on the other hand, do not trust not putting a bolt in there, so I decided to go ahead and put them in anyway. So all I have to do is follow the torque sequence on these, get all of this torque down, and then I can go ahead and start putting everything back together. But before I do that, I have to clean my throttle body because it's pretty dirty. But I'm not going to bore you guys with showing you that. I'm just going to show you the end result of this car being done and let you know if it runs better or if it was a waste. But I feel like with that much of a gain as far as the intake manifold goes, I think that should make a huge difference. Intake manifold is now clean. Or excuse me, the throttle body is now clean. It was so dark that you couldn't see in there. It still looks a little dirty, but it'll be alright. The back side of it was the part that was pretty bad. So from this point, all I have to do is get the airbox back in, put the engine cover back on. That's going to have to go back on before the strut tower. And also, a very key point on this install. So these washers are very important. So you have all of these washers that you're going to end up using. These are to space up the shock tower brace so that you aren't making contact with the intake manifold. So you will have to use these. They are very crucial in this. Otherwise, you're going to be hitting the strut tower brace every time you hit the gas and the motor kind of shifts like that. So these are very important. I'll show you where all of them go once I get to that point. But now it's a point of getting that back on, getting all that back on, and then we'll move on to here and we should be good to go. So engine's back together. We're looking good. Only got a few more things to do and then we'll be on the home stretch. So as far as I can tell, the car is idling better than it was before. It was kind of skipping a little bit, but it's definitely because of the spark plugs is one of the problems. The other thing too, I'm getting adequate air throughout the entire intake manifold now, so hopefully that'll help. I'm sure you're not going to be able to hear me once I walk back here, but you'll hear how it's running.
So it's been a couple days since I did the video, and I wanted to have time to be able to test the car to see if there was really any gains out of doing the intake manifold spacer. I can tell you that it picked up on mid-range and on the high end. My throttle response has gotten better. I am not having a misfire and everything due to the plugs, but if you do take the car apart and you do have to unplug the throttle body, there is a certain procedure that you have to go through in order for the car to relearn it. So you'll have to download the instructions to be able to do that. Otherwise, your car will continue to idle at about 1,000 RPMs no matter what. And when you shift, if you have a manual, the RPMs will not go back down. So it's kind of a pain, but the whole procedure takes less than 5 minutes, so it's not super horrible. But car is running great. I have noticed a huge difference. So I would definitely recommend, doing this modification to your car. It's one of those things that is practical and it actually works. So if you are looking for this part, go ahead and check out Z1 Motorsports, and they have the biggest variety of parts. I mean, pretty much my entire build has been nothing but their parts so far, and I'm really happy about it. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I will be doing some more videos very soon. I just haven't had time. And I will be doing the giveaway, but I'm trying to wait until this whole COVID thing dies down a little bit before I do it, because it's making shipping stuff really, really hard. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. Drop a like, drop a comment. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and I will catch you guys later. Peace.